So it's been a little bit since I've talked about South Park on this channel, and we have a lot of new subscribers. So just want to preference this video by saying I am a die-hard South Park fan. I love South Park as an IP. It's probably my favorite IP out there. Love the show. I've seen the whole thing multiple times. I do basically a yearly rewatch of the entire show, especially right before they release a new season. I try to time it that way. I'm fucking weird, okay? So a little bit ago, South Park Snow Day released, and it feels like most people have kind of forgotten about that game. If you don't know, that game was pretty much a failure from the start. I mean, I was someone who was actually pretty excited to see the genre change, although I do love the Stick of Truth. It's in my top 5 most played and favorite games of all time. I was excited for South Park Studios to try something different. Unfortunately, for me and a lot of people, it just did not land. Is the game bad by any means? No, I don't think the game is like this piece of shit, terrible thing to play. It's just not the most fun for someone like myself. And if you enjoy it, power to you. I actually really wish that I could enjoy it. I even went back to just try it again for this video, and I just couldn't even complete a level. Like, I was just so over it from the jump. But it got me thinking, you know, one of those deep shower moments where you're sitting there and you're thinking about something that you love so much, whether it's food, whether it's drugs or alcohol, or whether it's South Park. And it got me thinking, what would my dream South Park game be? And I feel like I haven't done a video like this, like a what if or what I want type of video, since I did the suits that I want for Spider-Man 2 video. Like 90% of you were not around for that. That's an OG Wicked video, by the way, that you should go watch, because I actually put a lot of effort into that one back in the day. Back in the day, dude, that was like a fucking year ago. I'm talking like I'm 80 years old. But this is my dream South Park game lineup. I don't know what I'm going to title the video, so that's what I'm going with for now. Basically, I'm going to go through a couple ideas that I had in the shower like 20 minutes ago, and then move the fuck on with my life. So the first idea that comes to mind is probably the most requested idea from the core South Park fan base: ninjas. If you've never watched the show, there's a very iconic episode where the main group of boys get their hands on ninja weapons. And the reason this episode, I should say, is so beloved is because Matt and Trey do a lot of animation stylistically different in this episode, from just the way they kind of structure the story to just the actual animation change for a large portion of the episode. Also, it has probably the catchiest South Park song of all time with Hey Hey Let's Go. But I think having this ninja theme could actually work really well, especially if they don't want to go back to the Stick of Truth or the Fractured But Whole style of RPG. They could do a more linear story, just like a base adventure game, follow a linear ass path if they wanted to change up the genre again, and just do like a stealth game or do like a parkour game or something fucking wild like that. I think ninjas as a theme would just fit really well. Plus, I'd love to see how they change the New Kids story for ninjas. I can already see the jokes fucking writing themselves from Eric, okay? Now, to kind of tie in with that, I'm going to talk about the type of genre that I kind of would want them to do, and that's just to go back to how the Stick of Truth and the Fractured But Whole were. Again, I think that them changing the genre for Snow Day was actually really cool in concept, and it had really good potential. The game was just so short, not really worth the money at launch, maybe now with all the updates and on a really good sale. But personally, for me, the gameplay was just so repetitive. And yes, there are repetitive elements to Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole, but it felt like Snow Day, again, for me, just took that to a whole different playing field. So I'm gonna follow in the footsteps of every other fucking person on the internet and say that I really want the next South Park game to just be a single player story based game like the other two. It doesn't have to be an RPG. It doesn't have to be super linear. I just want it to be focused on the kids again. Obviously, again, Snow Day was focused on the kids, and it was at its core a South Park story, but it felt more like a half-baked live service game than like an actual story-driven South Park game. And to me, that is what the magic of the Stick of Truth especially had going behind it, was that at the end of the day, it just felt like a really big South Park episode / movie or special, while Snow Day felt more like a video game, which is, again, totally fine. But I'm sick of it, and I want them to go back to a main, like just a main South Park story-based game, especially since they had a cliffhanger kind of at the end of Fractured But Whole. And that leads me into my third part or portion or whatever. I want them to follow up on that, I guess, end credit scene is what you could call it, where Professor Chaos tells you that it's time to get evil or something like that. And I could totally see them taking elements from both Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole and kind of combining them into a third game to kind of finish off the New Kid storyline, and just have it be where the New Kid is just the fucking bad guy for a change, because the New Kid has been the hero of every South Park game, including Snow Day. And I think it would just be so cool to flip it on its head and just have the whole town of South Park be going at you. Obviously, then you can't really kill the other boys. Like, you really can't kill anyone in the South Park universe except for Kenny. But I just think that would work really well. I don't know. It's pretty basic. I feel like I'm just kind of yapping in this video, to be honest. Now, after all of those, something else that I would actually really enjoy, and something that I actually kind of hope we get at some point, is the first-person South Park game that we almost had back in the day. There are countless videos going over the history of gaming for Matt and Trey, and how they had kind of laid the groundwork to create really good South Park games all the way back almost like in season 3 or 4. But there is a build of basically it's like a Simpsons hit and run, but for South Park. And that for me would be perfect. Don't get me wrong, I love the New Kid. I love being able to just insert yourself into a South Park story, but we have not gotten a game where you're just playing as the South Park characters. Give me GTA or Simpsons Hit and Run, but skinned to South Park. Let me play that game, and I will give you a unheard of amount of money. I would probably sell my spleen. Scratch the probably, I would definitely sell my spleen and my kidneys and probably a lot of my lungs just for this game to be real. I think it's probably one of my most wanted ones now that I really think about it. Again, this doesn't really have an order to this video. It's just kind of me shooting shit. Speaking of shooting shit, let's get a Mr. Hanky. I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a really bad joke. I'm sorry. I think for me, and I said this a couple minutes ago in this video, for me, I just want whatever South Park does next to feel like an episode, to feel like a movie. And I think this year really put it into perspective for me, because I feel like South Park has been a staple part of my life for such a long time. And not having a season this year for 2024, or at least this part of the year, and not really having a game to really dive into kind of fucking hurt me, man. I don't know, I'm probably just bitter because I didn't like Snow Day, and I'm definitely biased. This is probably the most biased video I've ever done, by the way. For me, I just really, I don't know. As someone who loves the show and who loves what South Park stands for, I really want them to just wrap up the New Kid story, for one, even though you can say, yeah, it wrapped up after Fractured But Whole, and I'd be totally okay with that. I just really want them to do something where you can put yourself in the town again. You know, I don't think we'll ever really get it, to be honest. Right after Snow Day, I thought to myself, you know, this game did not perform that well. Maybe that's a sign to Matt and Trey that they are just not going to go down this path again. But honestly, I could also see them going the opposite direction, and for Snow Day not doing as well, for them to just kind of wrap it up from there. Unfortunately, that's what I can 100% see that happening. Now again, Snow Day is not a bad game by any fucking means. Please, I know I've roasted it a couple times in this video. Please do not take that as me throwing hate towards South Park Studios, or hate towards the developers, or hate towards the ideas or anything, because I think on paper, Snow Day makes a ton of sense. A game game for them to update every single year after a new season or a big event in the show happens. A game where they can constantly push new stories and new areas and all of this other stuff. But I think the execution of Snow Day just didn't live up to their own expectations. And honestly, even if they made a huge MOBA, something like WoW, they could make a World of Warcraft version of South Park. Like, I don't know. That's just kind of my thinking here. If you like South Park, let me know in the comment sections down below. If you enjoyed this video, also slap a like on it, or, you know, I'm probably getting yelled at in the comment section again by people who watch 45 seconds of one of my opinions and take it as fact. But this video is strictly my opinion, so don't even fucking try to go there. God, I get rage baited so hard by some of these fucking comments. I really got to stop replying to every single one, but I like conversation, man. I like replying to everybody. While you're scrolling down there to hit the like or dislike button, you're going to see a big red button. Go ahead and click that, as well as the bell next to it, so that way you can get notified when I upload next or for when I go live. And then scroll all the way down to the comment section and type your fucking feelings out, man. This is just a nice little bus stop for you to relax, maybe watching this while you're playing a South Park game. I don't know. It's been Nate, otherwise known as Wicked, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.